Okay, welcome. Welcome to WooForThought.
Welcome to WooForThought. Tell us what WooForThought is.
WooForThought are your essays for lecturians.
And what is a lecturian?
A lecturian is what we are. That's you and me, all of us, who read. We can't walk by a bookstore without getting drawn into the gravity well of all of those beautiful shelves full of thoughts and ideas and concepts and journeys and trips and etc.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I like to write long essays.
I love to read long essays.
And we decided to do a podcast around these essays.
And that's what you're listening to.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't know, you can go to Inelia.substack.com and read them.
Yes, read the essays.
Because obviously you're listening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's too hard to remember, just type Inelia Benz Substack. It'll take you there.
You will. Yep. All right. And if you like this episode, make sure to subscribe to our podcast and share it
with your fellow lecturians.
Indeed.
Okay.
This is a WooForThought, so.
This is a WooForThought, so.
Welcome to WooForThought.
Welcome to Wooforthought. That's our intro. That's
our
what
intro,
we're sticking with.
We're sticking with it. Mm-hmm.
All right. So, how about a tiny bit more intro? Where do you find a WooForThought if you want to read it?
Substack.
Substack. Just
yes.
Substack.
Substack, Inelia Benz. You can click on WooForThought. How is it different, though?
Also, when you say click on WooForThought.
Mm-hmm. On the internet.
On the interwebs.
Yeah.
If you go to Substack, Inelia Benz, at the top you'll see
a menu.
Menus, and up there will be one of them says WooForThought.
It does.
That's the one you go to. And the most recent one is the one we're talking about. Well, depending on when you listen to this.
Well, actually, it is the latest one.
Well, unless they listen to this in a month or two.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So this one is called
Success.
Success.
Why it's important to figure out, and what does it have to do with enlightenment? Because it's a long title. Why?
Because it's a long essay.
It's not an article, honey. It's an essay. See?
Yeah, I said it's an essay.
I know, you did. Yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and start reading it then?
Well, because it's a long essay, we don't normally read them.
I think that's what we do.
We read little bits and take like bullet points out of it. And why now? Because it's important for lightworkers to succeed at everything, not just enlightenment, but enlightenment in particular, right? So one of the things that actually surprised me when I looked it up was that the word success, which makes sense when you think about it, doesn't mean the end of a goal. Doesn't mean the end or achieving something. It's really, really funny.
That's how I always thought success means, yes, I did it.
I did it. I finished. But it actually means go after, what follows after, what comes after.
Success is what comes after?
Yeah, that's what it means. That's where the word originates from. And it's like, what? And it makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Why does it make sense to you?
It makes a little bit of sense. It's like success is like you've attained the thing, and then success is what you do after you've attained the thing.
Yeah, indeed.
And it could be like enlightenment. What would you do if you succeeded with your enlightenment?
All right.
Of course, that being a word that needs its own definition.
Defining.
It needs its own defining, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know enlightenment means a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Yeah, we do have an enlightenment class if you want to know what it means to us. But with regards
the long version of it.
The long version.
If you want to know in 2.5 hours, all of the everything, like all the what it isn't, all the what some people think it is, all the things that are like, I'm not going to say traps, but I'm just going to say
traps,
all of the sinkholes. I mean, like with any spiritual pursuit, it seems like human beings have been doing spiritual pursuits for, I think, ever since there's been humans sitting around a fire.
Right.
And so over the period of however many years that might be, a lot of opportunities for side tracks.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Later on in the essay,
the enlightenment class, I think
Yeah.
it's really very thorough.
it's very, very thorough. If you have any type of interest in expansion of awareness, enlightenment, then definitely take that class.
Definitely take that class because
Yeah.
I mean it's going to illuminate so much. I don't know. You find that where do you find that class?
You find it in two places. One of them is at Subscribestar, and the other one is at ineliabenz.com.
Right, you can go there and look
store.
up the enlightenment class. You'll be able to find it.
Yeah, you'll find it.
Okay, so how about the
So the
essay?
the vocabulary, or the definition, I should say, that we're talking about here for this essay about enlightenment. Just going to read that a little bit because it's a quote. Based on the vocabulary dictionary on the internet, based means that I didn't copy it like straight out, but I altered it a little bit to fit what into the essay a little bit better.
Okay.
The word enlightenment comes from the Latin prefix en, meaning in or into, and the word lux, meaning light. Combine these meanings in or into the light. And you're describing what it is that characterizes an enlightened person. A refined sense of clarity and understanding. The word Buddha means enlightened person, or some people translate it into the awakened. In other words, a person that has clarity and understanding of the world around them. There's nothing woo-woo about that. Any woo-woo-ness around enlightenment is there to distract, redirect, and lose the goal.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. You got it.
Yes. Yeah.
You got it.
So it has been equated with the states of samadhi, meditative absorption, or nirvana, ecstasy. In other words, heightened states of emotional happy feelings. But it actually means a person who is an adult and has a mental and perceptual clarity and wisdom. A person who can see past their own and other people's limitations and programming. Wouldn't you like that? I know I do. So
success in that wisdom.
Yeah. Why it's important, So to me, because you're listening to this podcast, you're already, in many ways, enlightened in like more than other people. It's like
Right.
because you're already allowing yourself to look beyond what we're told is normal life or regular reality, because you're listening to this.
Yes.
So going back to succeed and what follows after.
You want to just read it for a little bit? The first part?
Well, I'm going to take little bullet points because it's a very long essay. It's like 8 pages long or 10 pages long or something. And I want to get through as much as we can. So,
Okay.
So I begin the essay by giving a few little things around succeeding, and a little surprise. I'm working on a class called Success. So this is a really good intro for that class.
Okay.
And if anybody's, it's going to have a few more bits, but it's more like everything that's here, but more in depth. So you already have all the tools in this essay already, right? The class is going to be more in depth in each of the points and more examples and easier to understand and get through by repetition.
Okay. So let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, the meat and potatoes.
Okay, we got the definitions. We kind of understand light workers. Oh, yes. There's light workers in this too.
Yes, there's light workers. So do you want to define light workers?
Oh, that would be us.
Okay, go ahead.
That's us.
Oh, us. I heard yes.
Light workers.
Oh, yes.
That would be illuminators. Remember?
Yes, illuminators.
Light workers are illuminators.
Yeah.
Illuminators.
Yeah.
Yeah. Working to illuminate.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Illuminate is
Working to illuminate, working to bring light and broader understanding of things.
right.
A lot of our listeners are also illuminators. They're light workers, right?
Almost all of them, if not all of them.
Yeah.
Or most common, I think, obstacle to illuminatoring. Was there? What's the word? Illuminating, not eliminating.
Not illuminatoring.
Illuminatoring seems to be at the point of illumination. There's this realization that most everything's perfect, in the sense of the experiences that everyone wants to have as the experiences they're having.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so the impetus to illuminate is a little bit, I don't know,
You have to redefine it.
blocked
Yeah.
by the thought that
Everybody's doing great.
they're doing what they want to be doing. That's why would I
Change that.
obstruct it and block it or disagree with it? I mean, they want to have that experience.
Yeah.
Who am I to say they can't?
Exactly.
Except for and unless it's impinging on everyone and on your own, right? Then you're inputting your disagreement to this happening to invite you. You're canceling the invitation
Of the non-illuminated.
of the unilluminated
invitations to experience.
God, that's a lot of words. I don't mean to be so wordy about it, but basically, it's when do you keep your mouth shut and when do you open your mouth? I think that's, along with when you do open your mouth, it seems like you're almost talking to the wall. So that's one of the bigger problems that seems to comes along with being successful and having gained some wisdom and gained some of the awareness. That seems that when you enter into the grocery store or you go to the gas station or you interact with people who haven't been doing that kind of work, or even some who have but are completely going down this, I don't know, rocky path, it's going into the swamp, it's very difficult to get your message across. Very difficult to communicate in an effective way. So I think that's one of the success lessons maybe that we can address.
So what it feels to me like, and it's something that a lot of us have gone through, is that we start waking up
Yes.
and we start seeing the world for what it really is, and reality and the construction of reality for what it really is. And we want to tell everyone, right?
Yeah,
It's
especially
like
if they're like
unhappy or whatever. So
unhappy, and it's because their understanding of what's going on is like manipulated. It's like we were just watching a video, right?
yes.
Excellent video of this. Well, some people might think it's excellent. It's a Alfa Romeo 3316 valve cloverleaf
That I used to own when
that
I
you
was
used to have
in
one
my
of.
early 20s.
And
Drive my little kiddies around in. It was my mum-mobile.
a mom-mobile, and it has a very nice exhaust note.
Yeah.
If you like the sound of
Race cars.
Ferraris or
Race
Alfa's Italian sports cars, right?
Click, 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 click.
It makes
Click, 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 click.
it makes backfires, and it just
Click,
sounds
click, click.
nice,
Yeah, it's really an amazing sound.
right?
And not too overwhelming. It's perfect, actually.
Right. You can be annoying with it if you want, and then you can
can.
not be annoying if you don't. It's just
Exactly,
the
yeah.
right, and like a little bit of a stereo volume. If you want the volume louder, you push on your right foot,
Yeah.
and you move this lever.
Yes.
Move the lever
Like,
down
yeah.
and push the right foot down. That
Oh, it
turns
goes
the
really
volume
loud.
up.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it's this video, just this fella driving his car down this canyon in Italy, and there's green grass and rocks and some houses and things. And we were remarking, it's like, because you remember there's this history with Italy, like some kind of war things and fascisms and all these other isms and a lot of traumatic, horrible stuff. And while looking at that and listening to that car, the thought is, what and how is it possible to convince all these people to go do something like that or have that done to them. That, I mean, there's literally where you are and what's going on there. It's like, this is and almost anyone's definition of idyllic.
Yes.
Beautiful green grass on a beautiful mountains and a beautiful canyon with a beautiful twisty road and a beautiful car.
Yeah.
How can you convince all those people to go like kill other people
I know.
en masse, right?
Yeah.
So that's where you try to communicate this illuminated and be an illuminator is, hey, don't do that. And it's like, hey, they're just manipulating you, and it's not for you, and it's not in any way going to help you. And it's best not to listen to that. But you would be talking to the wall because you're not a patriot or you're not whatever.
Yeah, they're defending that lifestyle and the capacity to drive that car down that road. Because
Yeah, if we don't do this, then people are going to take it away. But
Yeah.
your very action of doing it is what's going to take it away.
Right.
Well, at least your enjoyment
So
of it.
that's
right?
a good example of an illuminated experience of it from a programmed experience, right?
Right. You're just illustrating the program. There's a program that's been put into your body by XYZ, and it drives you to XYZ, which is not to your benefit.
Right.
I mean, okay, I get it. You want to have war experience. No, well, not here with me, thank you.
So, yeah.
That's how do you share your illuminated perspective?
So I'm writing a book right now,
Yeah.
a novel. It's insane, isn't it? It's like
Yes.
14 chapters in 2 days or something. When a novel comes in, it comes in. You're gonna tell you. We'll see when it comes out. We will check it out. It's called Team Whisper. And I'm mentioning it because in that book, one of the things that I'm bringing into the human collective, because all my books are enlightenment tools, even the novels, or especially the novels, it explores an aspect of enlightenment which not many people talk about.
Bless you.
Thank you. And it's this. When the whole example that you gave is Larry trying to get through to these people. Okay? And the human experience is not created by one person. It's created by groups of people, sub-collectives. Okay? So all that question, like, how do I get through to them? If you can see it, how do you get through to these people who are programmed and are going down that wrong path and trying to drag me with them? How do we do this? And the first thing you do is you get together with other people who understand it also.
Okay.
And within that group of people, you create a believable story of how that country or whatever gets out of that program. And it doesn't take that many people, really, but it does take a group.
And some attention on it.
It takes a group with a focused, very focused attention and intent to get the other reality kicked in. And it works, right? So one of the aspects of like success with regards to any goal, right, is the fact that you need good allies and good counsel. And it's not Larry trying to convince a country or the people in the country. It's Larry with all his friends, right? Getting together. And if it's a physical location, it's even better. It's more powerful. But if not, then with like at a time you can say, okay, at 2:00, blah, blah. And have a very clear intent of what you want to achieve. Yeah. It's weird, but I mean, this teaching is not new. I think even in the Catholic Church, they talk about when 2 or more people gather in the name of Jesus, then he comes into the room or something. I don't know. I don't remember exactly the quote.
Something similar to that.
Yeah, but that's what it's saying.
Yes, I see.
And when Buddhists get together, I practiced Buddhism for over a decade. And when Buddhists get together, they get together, right? They get off their sofa and they get in their cars and they go to a place and they do a really, really focused intent. Really, really focused. Not wishy-washy or, God bring us blah, blah. It's really focused intent. And that intent then has a physical effect in the human collective. So for us, that method, and that knowing that when you gather with other people who are as awake as you are and have the same intent is very powerful. It's not something that I just began teaching or just brought into the human collective, right? It's something that many people, many organizations know. And at the same time, they use to bring in what they want to experience.
Their version of it. Yep.
Their version of it.
Interestingly enough, that was, I think it was last night's Crow 777. I was listening to him on the ride home. Mm-hmm. And
we like that. Yeah, that's a podcast, right?
It's a podcast, yeah. He was basically talking about that very thing. It's the function of the structure of the engineering to bring about the reality that we experience as a collective. Mm-hmm. And basically what we are talking about, but at the level of sleeper. It's like, how do you manipulate the sleeping masses to get them to focus their attention and agreement and energy and creativity towards the reality that you are presenting, which is basically advertising, which is basically propaganda, which is basically the willful, generative, creative, I want power of millions or a billion or however many people focused on the same thing. So that creates it.
Yes. So when you're in that spot, right, and you want to create either a reality for yourself or like a collective reality, let's say you want Mussolini to stop, killing his own people and forcing the majority of the youth in Italy to go out to war and kill other people. Right?
Yeah, go kill everybody else on the whole planet, guys. That's the only way we're going to keep this road.
Yeah, that's our version of it, right? Maybe if you followed Mussolini and you thought he was a great man, you saw it differently. And there's no judgment in either way. I'm just expressing it that way because it's the example that you brought up from your viewpoint. Okay? So, guaranteed, the people who thought Mussolini was a great man, they thought they were the good guys and they were defending their beautiful land and their culture and all sorts of things, whatever it might be. So those are groups, right? Deciding that going to war and killing people is a great thing.
It's the best answer.
Yeah. And there's one of the keys then that I want to explore a little bit more is how we are not, as a population, taught how to succeed unless it's to do with becoming a cog in the industrial whatever.
Success is the thing, not the after.
Right, not the after, yes.
And yet, once you have the thing, then for most or many, they think, well, now I should be happy for, I don't know why I'm not, but I'm successful. I'm a success now. Yeah. But now what?
Right.
They haven't gotten to the now what.
Yeah. And it's like there's a goal depression thing. It's like when people achieve a goal that they worked for many years and then finally achieve it, they go into a state of really, really amazing, like nirvana, ecstasy or whatever for a while, and then they crash.
Yeah, remember that fellow that got that boat? Remember our boat used to have next to us, that big black one? The lights on all the time, right?
Yeah.
And then he his dream to get that thing, and he had that thing for a while, and it turned into a nightmare for him, I guess. And so his real dream was that other boat. Remember the big square one that's really tall and fast? And his absolute dream, to fish with his boys on a fast 32-footer, goes faster than everybody else in the whole bay and can pack a whole bunch of pounds. That's his ultimate dream. And he got that dream, and I seen him walking down the dock one day. His head was down with his new boat, right? His head was down, and he's all angry and upset. I was like, what's going on? He's like, this and that and the other thing. And I was like, great, and that and the other. And like, that, but don't you have your dream boat? He says, yeah, this dream boat is like this the nicest boat. And oh gosh, it's just, I can't like this and that and the other. It's like, these guys over here. I'm like, but you got your dream, right? You got your dream. You got a giant boat that's faster than everybody else's, and your boys fishing with you. It's like, isn't that everything that you ever wanted? He said, yeah. I said, so can you be happy for that? Is that okay? I mean, I don't see any reason to be crappy. Look at that beautiful thing. And your kids are there waiting to go fishing with you. I think that's everything you asked for. Now you got it. Now what?
What did he say?
Is now what was, well, yeah, but it's these government guys and that thing over there. And this dock is dirty. It's like, okay, let's just make the list bigger. But there was no after, right? The attainment of it. I said, you already won. You got everything you asked for, and you win. Now take the win. And I think it helped for a little while. I think for a week or so, his head wasn't so
He wasn't so grumpy old guy, huh?
He wasn't so grumpy. He isn't even old. He's younger than me by half.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, it's exactly illustrating what you said. It's like, now you have everything and all the things, and you're a success by any measure. All of the measures that you would give yourself. Now what?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it wasn't now be happy. It was now there's something else to be mad about. Because it was just the nature of his personality, right?
Yeah. And part of that sense, either depression or anger or non-satisfaction that comes in after achieving a goal and feeling satisfied and taking the win, and a few days later you're like, boom.
Yeah, it was only a month or so later after you got that boat. A week or two. It wasn't very long.
It's because success is what follows after, right? And the goals that we set ourselves are usually end goals. We think it's an end.
So his goal was get the boat, but he didn't think about the after.
Right.
That wasn't the goal.
No.
What you do after you get the boat.
Right.
His goal was get the boat.
Get the boat. And the other thing that I've noticed with regards to what we are taught about goals is that we can look at the other side, like let's take Mussolini again.
Right.
The war industrial complex was working at creating these wars in Europe and then bringing the rest of the world in, but decades before they even began. And it took a lot of different things that they engineered in order to convince these people to go to war. So huge financial depressions, no work, blaming of others.
Oh yeah, they created a cauldron.
Yes.
A bubbling cauldron.
Yes. But that took decades.
Right, that was
maybe even
overnight.
hundreds of years to get it going, right? And then every now and then they would let the valve off, and the valve was a war, right? And then they would give a little bit of, high five to the people and that you did great and whatever. And then they would turn it on again, and then they would have another war, and on and on and on, right? So what I'm getting to here is that the example that I give for one person, or two examples that I give, one of it is, one, goal is to have wealth. First step, become billionaire. Third step, become a trillionaire. Right?
Okay.
Or goal is to have a happy married life with kids.
Okay.
That's the first, number one. Number two, first step, get married. Number three, second step, have kids.
Well, that simplified both of those. It's not so hard if you put it in 1, 2, 3 like that.
But that's not how the world works. And that's not how those wars came about and convinced all those people, right, to have a
I
war.
don't know. I watched a movie and this girl dated this millionaire and then she was a millionaire. And she got married and had kids. It's like both in one.
And that's a really good point. The movies that we see give you a visual or an examples that people try to map to, which says it's instant. You just go and click, 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 and it's done.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not like that. It isn't like that.
You know, ask anyone who's got daughters who's trying to marry off to billionaires. It's like, God, this is so much work. They always like the guys from across the bridge, across the rails.
Oh, no.
On the other side of the train
tracks. Is that what happened to you with your daughters?
They just married, well, one of them just married me, basically, from 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting to see it happen, you know, like,
oh,
he looks similar to me and doing the same thing I was doing, and
similar voice.
Similar voice and mannerisms and
same job.
Same job. Well, that's kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah. I guess I should have been a billionaire, and then she would have went and found one of them.
Exactly. There you go.
But I'm fine with who she married. I think he's great.
He's really nice, actually.
He's fantastic.
I like him a lot.
I like him fine. It's just like me.
Not you, honey. Just a younger version.
Right.
He's really hot.
Yes.
He's like, oh. Wiggle, wiggle. Right. Anyways.
That wasn't ever my goal anyways.
But my point being, and what I explain in this essay, is that the first thing you do is you start with a very small goal. So with my students, for example, I had a couple, 3, 4, or 5 students who wanted to be trillionaires.
Yeah, I hear that.
And yeah, I hear it a lot. I mean, why not, right? Because if you have a lot of money, you have a lot of ability to do, and then you can do a lot of good on the planet, right? With a lot of ability to do, which is what money is, just your ability to do. And the first thing that I would say is, okay, so for the next week or even next month, I want you to increase your income by $10. And often they would say, that's nothing, you know. But I was like, you know, I can do that with my hands tied behind my back. I do that all the time and blah, blah, blah. And off they'd go. Mm-hmm. And more often than not, I mean, some of them did come back with, you know, oh, yeah, I made $40, you know, extra and whatever. But the majority came back saying, I actually lost money this month. Which is interesting, right?
It is, yeah. And not in a good way, but yeah.
It is actually in a good way, because it actually starts bringing to light, illuminating, bringing light and awareness to what is actually causing you not to be a trillionaire right now. Right? So there's programs and there's social constructs and there's decisions you made before you were born and after you were born and
the parents
games
you picked and
all sorts of things.
Environment you born into.
The skill set you have.
The unconscious beliefs that you roll with.
Exactly. Yeah. So it starts
what you're going to do with
it.
the money when you get it.
Oh my gosh, that was a big one. Jeez. What you're going to do with the money afterwards?
Yeah.
Oh, that was like a minefield of obstacles
yes.
for you to actually get the money.
Yes.
So that's what it means. You know, it's like you start very small and then, all right, who are your buddies? Who are your allies and good counsel? Oh, no, I'm going to do this by myself. So to begin with, you have to understand that the financial system where you want to work and play in to become a trillionaire is a collective agreement. It works only because there's people around. A cat has no idea what a trillionaire is. It doesn't care. A tree doesn't care. A fish doesn't care. Right? Dog don't care. They don't even know what money is. So that brings it into the human collective construct. Anyways, that's my example. Basically, going in like your step shouldn't be decide that you want to have wealth, and then the first step being become a billionaire, and then the third step become a trillionaire. Even deciding to have wealth, you need to work at achieving that goal. You have to work through your programs and all the other things that have stopped you from being wealthy right now.
So in my instance, I would like $1 trillion to raise an army of light workers.
Okay.
And the light workers are going to be like spreading illuminated information throughout the planet.
Yeah.
And I'll be paying them.
Okay.
But they'll have like, they're not like, here's thousands of dollars, go do that. It's like, you got to do X, Y, Z, and I get a report back. But there's somebody else can take the reports because, I mean, I can't take care of all the reports from all of the soldiers.
Yes.
And I'm not going to use the word soldiers, but we'll use a different word, you know?
You already spotted your first block.
Yeah.
Army, soldiers.
An army and a soldier. But you see.
Oh, no. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, you can have a nice... What would a collection of light workers be if it's not an army? We first have to work on our terminology.
Yes.
Because we're not going to get very many light workers to join our army.
No, armed army, right? We call them legion, and then other people can call us demons. The legion.
I got to do some vocabulary work.
Great. So that's a perfect first goal.
Yes.
The very perfect first goal to achieve that vision, to that trillionaire status and having a huge group of people that you can lead and pay, and they can have good lifestyles, right?
A good lifestyle.
The first goal is create a vocabulary that actually fits what I want and is not part of the war industrial complex vocabulary lexicon, right?
Right. That's first step. Like we were looking at what was a group of angels. What did they call that one in our book? Or was it dragons?
A group of dragons.
Of dragons.
What was that? Can't remember.
It's like a murder of crows, but a group of dragons was a different word.
Yeah, it was a very interesting one.
It was a good word too. I'm sorry I don't remember it. If I remember it, I'll put it in the comments.
Yeah.
If it comes to me, I'll say it.
Okay.
But it was quite a funny word. But we need a word like that for light workers.
Yes, we do. Yes.
If you have any ideas, feel free to jump in and
What is a group of light workers called?
you're with this WooForThought podcast, we do have an after party call.
Yes, that's right. At Subscribestar.
At Subscribestar.
Yeah. And also you can add comments on the Substack actually, where the essay is published. So you can put your ideas of what you think a group of light workers should be called. You can put it in the comments on Substack.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
That'll be great.
Yeah. And there you go. You just gathered allies. Good counsel.
Good counsel.
Right? And a common intent.
Sweet.
Woohoo! We're doing good at this stuff.
I'm glad I read that article.
So the whole goals things, and success, it's really, really important because we really want to get like a successful outcome to the people who have decided to embody the light paradigm, because we're going through a split right now.
Right.
Somebody asked, because I said, no, you have to do it right now. It's like, you got to get going now. We have to do this now. And keep saying that, right? And one of the comments in our Telegram channel said, I thought that we were supposed to take 3 generations.
I thought it was going to take 3 generations. I don't really want to do anything. Just wait.
I don't know if they said that, but I know they said, I thought we were, this was supposed to happen within 3 generations. And my viewpoint is baby steps and the goal achievement. You start with very small steps. Taking 1,000 small steps will take you like a mile down the road, right? But if you just sit and wait for the mile down the road to come to you, it's not going to happen.
Right? Oh, you actually have to put steps?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and also it's like a volume thing. And the more people who first of all, decide to step into enlightenment, the more of them that do it, the faster it is for everybody else and themselves.
Right, because if you work on your enlightenment, then you're not likely to be
Feeding?
feeding the light-dark paradigm because you see what's happening.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, no, I don't think so. Let me see. Oh, no, I see that's not for that. That's not for me. No, thank you.
No, not that one. Yeah.
No, not doing that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I know it sounds great. I mean, your movie was awesome. Your commercial, spot on. I mean, if I were another me 20 years ago, you'd probably have lit my fire. But I'm sorry, it's just not working.
Right. So, that a lot of the things that I've seen also, and it also comes back to that. My first goal is to become a billionaire. Second one, to become a trillionaire, without getting to increase your income for $10 by $10 in a month. Is that people will often say, "Well, I downloaded one of your meditation, one of your exercises, and I've been doing the fear processing exercise, and I'm doing it every day, and I get results, but then I feel bad again, and I get into trouble again, and I start indulging in negative stuff again, so it's not working." So again, that's the wrong teaching of what success is. Success is what follows. So give them the example of, let's say, the decision of, for the next day, I will stay sober, which is, I think, a teaching that they teach in the Alcoholics Anonymous or something like that. That's a good example.
Yeah, I don't need a year. Just let me make it a day.
Exactly, right? So that is a really good example and a good method because it's not, and you can say, yeah, but it's like I do my fear processing exercise in the morning and then I do the meditation, but I'm already fighting and arguing and feeling angry by midday. And what I teach is, before you started this exercise, you were angry all day.
Now it's half the day.
Now it's half the day. But even if it's just an hour that you're not angry, and 10 hours that you are, and then an hour that you're not angry, and then 10 hours that you are, guaranteed if you continue, suddenly it's going to be 2 hours that you're not angry, and 9 hours that you are.
Yeah, it will.
And then 3 hours that you're not angry, and 8 hours that you're not. So it's a process, and it takes time. And you start, and I started with for the next 5 seconds, right? For the next 5 seconds, I will stay alive. For the next 5 seconds, I will not be sad. For the next 5 seconds, I will not be angry, right? And then after 5 seconds, I was.
The gloves are off. What?
Yeah. So it's like, and then those 5 seconds started getting into 10 seconds, and the time in between those 10 seconds became shorter. And after a few years, it was pretty much the other way around. That within a whole day, I would only fall into anger for 5 seconds. Do you see? So I would call that success. But if you took the measurement of you have to stop being angry from one day to the next, then it would never have been success. Right? It still wouldn't be success because there's still those 5 seconds, right? So this is what I'm getting at. It's like we need to learn that success is what follows, but also the methodology of success has been used by the other side that promotes horrible wars and things like that on the planet, and fear. They know how to do it a little tiny dots at a time, a tiny little second at a time. That adds up.
They
right?
do, definitely.
So we need to learn that and use it ourselves.
Right. That's a very good teaching, because in my experience of encountering people, I think and I feel like I have to get them all the way to the end.
Right.
And if I don't make it all the way to the end, I have not succeeded.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's okay to have a seed. It's okay to have a 5 seconds. It's okay to have a part of the story, not
the entire thing.
Entirety. You need to be where I am in the next, 5 minutes or so. Go.
Yes.
Which is never working.
No.
Not even once.
No. Yeah.
And oftentimes that failure brings about the feeling of why even bother.
And it's the other way around, right? It's counterproductive. It achieves the opposite. Not only are you not succeeding in illuminating them, but your light goes out.
Right, totally.
Right?
Because the whole reason for the success, the purpose of, is now not.
Yep.
You've canceled everything.
Yeah.
So success is what we're doing after, and the steps that we take. Success is the journey part, the doing of it part. And the 5 seconds or the 10 minutes or the 1 hour or the 2 hours, the amount of time that you're, whatever it is you're doing, right? The effect that it's having for you or for the person who's experiencing it, allow them to have that experience too in the increment they can take it. Right? Because you don't know where they started.
You don't.
And the very fact that they're even talking to you about this says what? It says so much for their desire to have some illuminating. But at the same time, how much can they take at once? Think about yourself when you first started, It's maybe not you, but me. Like the no virus thing, be a good example.
Yeah. So one of the things that it reminds me of is that many times you and me would have a conversation, and it was a very broad and illuminating and expansion of awareness conversation about something.
Yep.
And then 3 hours later, you didn't remember having that conversation. Remember that?
No, because I forgot. Clearly.
And it would happen
over and over. Yeah, I know. I do remember saying, honey, how about this? And he's like, we've already talked about it. And if you don't remember, I'm not saying it again.
Eventually, it's forget it.
Forget it.
Say it.
There's no point in me telling you because you'll forget it. And I'll be like, honey, I won't forget this time. I promise. Just tell me. He's like, I'm not going to do it.
But
and then I would wear you down, and you would eventually say, okay, fine. And then you would tell me.
And then I just immediately say, what did I just say?
And I don't know. Sometimes I would remember, and other times I'd be like, well, can you use different words? Because I don't. Yeah.
And sometimes it would be immediate. It would say, okay, repeat back to me what I just said. And you'd But that has been happening less and less as the years go by, which is also very interesting, right?
Feels good to remember what you said 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And sometimes I make it a whole day or even a whole week. Yeah. And I remember sometimes I hold that thing and I'm holding it really, really hard. And then you say, okay, do you remember what we talked about yesterday in the truck? Yes.
What was it?
It's all written on my hand.
Or alternatively, you're what does this?
What is this note for?
Yes. What does it mean?
Oh. Should Google that.
Why is it in my hand?
Yes. Okay, they're true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess the point is, right, for that 1 minute as you were talking, it was there.
Yeah.
And it faded, but it's still there at the unconscious level, which is the same level of propaganda, the same level as advertising. That is still there. You may not remember it. You may not even acknowledge it. And you may say, oh, that doesn't even work on me, that advertising. I don't want no, wow, look at that Ford. Right?
Yes.
Okay, not Ford, because you don't like Ford.
Unless it's a Mustang, then I'll take it.
Okay. You get my point. Right?
His eyes, your eyes, your eyes and your face just went so strange when I said that. Unless it's a Mustang. If you're not watching the video, then you should watch the video and watch Larry's face when I said that.
I was thinking about that
Ding, 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 ding.
black car that we looked at.
Yes.
Part of the new book. Yes.
Oh my
Anyways,
goodness.
I call them Ferrari Mustangs.
Yes. Back on focus.
Okay. What were we talking about?
About advertising, and then you want the Ford.
Yeah, that's right. The advertising doesn't work on me.
It doesn't work on you at all, honey, except for that black Mustang.
So the point of this is you can see
What I can say to you
we're also
is
doing the same thing.
good old American hot dogs.
Oh yeah, hot dogs coming up.
Can you explain to people what that is about?
So we went to Macade's. It's a street fair. Well, it's more than a street fair. It's a celebration of our conquering by the United States of America and the raising of the flag over our reservation.
Yes.
So we're like, yay, conquered. We did it. That's how she said it to me. It's like, wait a minute, you're right. That's true, huh? Anyway, we don't care. Hot dogs, fireworks, American flag.
Party.
It's an excuse to have a street fair and some
lots of nice
traditional
jewelry
dancing and jewelry. And
yeah.
it's like Thanksgiving. You like,
Yes. Yeah. And nice.
should we have
salmon.
Thanksgiving?
Yeah, from the beach. Yeah. Nice.
Sure, why not? Have a food
Oh,
party.
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Let's have a food party. What's it about? Don't worry about that shit.
Don't
Let's just
talk
have a food
about it.
party.
Let's just have a lot of food.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So we went to Macade's to bring enlightenment and podcast and our handmade jewelry and our crafts and our tribe of light workers to spread light and information and engage with everyone there who was really interested in all these things. But, they just didn't know that we were there. Turned out there wasn't anyone really that interested.
I know. It was so hilarious.
Not really anyone
Not really hilarious.
at all.
No.
Except for the people we brought with us.
Yes.
They were our own best customers. We were all each other's own best customers.
We did. Yeah.
We did gangbusters
Yes.
with each other.
Yes.
And we bought each other's stuff and we
all
loved
stuff
it, every
we
bit of
did,
it.
Every bit.
Yeah. But other than that, we didn't have much commercial success or really any success whatsoever.
Any success. We didn't get to spread any light at all.
Nobody even knew what a QR code was.
Or a
Nobody knew what a
podcast.
podcast was.
Yeah.
Nobody was interested in what a podcast was or what they would do with a podcast or that there was a macaw with a podcast. Do you have hot dogs?
Yes.
No? Okay. See you later.
Have hot dogs.
No. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Nothing here to eat? No food.
No food.
There's food next door.
Yeah.
That's nice. It's hilarious. But yeah, so no, it didn't work too much. By the measure of success that I thought. On the other hand, by the new measure of success, a moment's exposure to potentially a mind expanded thought about something, we had a lot of success. I mean,
Yeah.
our image was there. Our persons were there.
Yeah.
People saw we were there.
Yes.
We had presence.
We did.
And even our logo was, carefully designed and structured and made in a way that the message is spread just by just looking at the image. Then that has things in it that say, hey, what's that? Hey, what's that? Hey, what's that? It's not a sigil as a symbols of just lines, but is a sigil of imagery that your subconscious sees, connects with, and says, oh, there's a Sasquatch. Oh, there's an eagle. Oh, there's an alien. Oh, there's a condor. Oh, there's a forest and a road. Oh, there's a red Ford. It's not a Ford. I think it's a Chevy man. Anyway. So it was successful.
Yeah.
But also not.
By the measure of I want to be a trillionaire, it was not a success. By the measure of, $10.
I want 100 or 1,000 new subscribers. No. By the measure of...
Somebody took a photo of the logo.
Yes, many times.
Yeah.
Yes. And yes. So that's part of what this is about, is how are we measuring the success and what is success? And
learning how to succeed.
And learning how to succeed, because by surface measure, we go like, well, I ain't ever doing that Makade thing again. That was a waste of time.
Right.
And that's exactly, as I will say it, it's exactly what they want.
They
want that. They want you to stop.
Right.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Don't put seeds in there. That seeds is a very powerful thing. You put enough of those in there, they do something.
You do, and they do. Yes. In the essay, I talk about a couple of the examples of success that I had in my life and one of my friends had in his life. And they're around income and everything else. And funnily enough, now, this moment, I've realized that while I was succeeding in my goals at 17, he was succeeding in his goals on the same year in his 20s. Or mid and late 20s. Maybe. I can't remember how old he was. He's a little bit older than me, so probably early 20s. And one of the most impinging aspects of both of our business succeeding was that it was in the early 80s. Late 80s. Well, 80s somewhere in there, like in the 80s somewhere. And in the 80s, there was a big financial collapse. And he was in Ireland, I was in England at the time. And both countries had 50% unemployment or 80% unemployment. I don't know. I don't remember the numbers. But it was a big number, right? A big number of unemployment. And the energy was, there's nothing you can do. There's no jobs. So you go to school, you graduate from school, and there's no jobs. I was 17 and I kind of dropped out at 17 of school. And there was no jobs for me. But I didn't see it that way. I saw opportunity. And I created jobs, not just for myself, but for my mom, my brother, and some friends. I created a company. And I used the whole structure that had been created to create jobs or to help people who are now in social income or whatever. I used that structure to sell my business, which is a catering business. And they needed to train people. They needed to, they had events to figure out what to do or to organize themselves. And when people gather, they need food, right? And because I was a minority and my brother and my mom were minorities, it was awesome because they were all into empowering minorities at the time. They just started that movement, just started then. So I used all that and I created a business and we were earning good money. And we were employed, right? I made some errors and mistakes. Obviously, I was just 17. I didn't know how to run a business, right? But I would go to people and I would say something like, well, why don't you start your own business? If there are no jobs, then create some for yourself and your friends. I mean, that was my mindset at 17. That wasn't my mom's mindset or my brother's mindset. They were both unemployed and they couldn't get jobs. But it was my mindset. And other people would say, well, I don't have any money to start a business and I don't have any skills to sell. And that was it. As far as they were concerned, that was the end of the road.
Case closed.
Case closed. So I would return by saying, well, if you don't have any marketable skills, then get educated. Take a couple of years or 4 years and get a skill. All right? The educational system at the time was all about that. It's like get people to get skills so they can work. So you don't have any marketable skill, get one. You might take it, well, yeah, but that's 5 years of blah, blah. So what? Just do it. But even if I did, I do have a skill, but I don't have any funding. I don't have any money to start a business. And like, okay, so why don't you get funding? Well, there's no funding, or I don't know where to get it. Get into a class and learn how to get funding. That's what I did at 17. I had no idea where to get money. So I joined some community classes in the local community college, and I learned how people got funding. And I went ahead, and at 17, I got funding. Right? So it's like, okay, so if you don't want to get funding from other people, then, start selling. At the time, it was like, put stuff in the boot of your car and go to the local market and sell your stuff, right?
Right. We went to the gas station the other day, remember? Then they had their Macade stand there selling their little tinctures and things.
Exactly,
And we're like, geez, look, Macade's in over. The gas station's right here.
Or eBay, Craigslist these days, right? So it's like, and a lot of the time, after all those arguments were made, the person would say, nah, it's fine. I can't be bothered. I'll just wait until there's
jobs.
There's jobs. This has to end at some point.
It does.
So
has
then
to eventually, right?
Yeah, so the illustration is, like the examples show, it's not about funding or ideas or skill sets or whatever. It's not about that. It's about what the goal is, and if you're prepared or not to take the smaller steps to achieve your goal. My friend, I learned this story later, right? When we didn't know each other at the time. He lived in Ireland, like I said, and I lived in England. But many years later, in the 90s, we became friends through the Buddhist organization in Ireland. He was a Buddhist at the time, and so was I. And he was a millionaire. And at one point I said, were you born into it? I mean, he was pretty posh. So were you born into it and everything? He says, no, I made my own millions. It's like, Says, how did you do it? He says, well, I'd finished college and I was partying, and one day I woke up and didn't have enough money to pay my rent.
Oopsie.
So I thought, I better do something, right? So what he actually did, I think what he told me was, and he's the one who introduced me to the book called Man Tinketh, which is written in the 1920s or 800s or 1940s, or I can't remember, by a guy called, I can't remember the name. Well, we'll have it in the notes, I'm sure.
Yes.
But anyways, he told me about that book, and so obviously I got it, right? And I thought it was fabulous. And I managed to understand a lot of things that I had done, and the things I hadn't done, and why it didn't succeed for very long or whatever, right? But anyways, he said what I did was, with the last of my cash, he said, I went into town. I went to a florist because he'd read an article the day before or something in the house he lived at. He read an article, he lived with other people, by the way, that talked about how having plants in offices were good for health and productivity and the general mood of the people that worked there. So armed with that article and that knowledge, he went to a florist. He bought 2 or 4 plants with the last of his cash. He walked down the street into the nearest office building. He went inside and he sold the idea, or with the article in hand, and he rented out his plants. And every few days he'd go in there and look after his plants. And then he started, like buying more plants. He got more offices, word got around, and he started putting plants all over Dublin. Before he knew it, he had a Jag and, a beautiful home and millions in his bank account. So it's like a tiny little step.
The few plants to start it. Just start something.
Yeah. The idea, right? Mm-hmm. And the gumption and he already knew that the skills of, that success was possible for anyone, having read that book. And he just had that spirit.
It's kind of like the Kensington Ketchup Boys we were listening to.
Yeah.
They're in college and they decided to make ketchup.
It was different because they went and funded like for millions of dollars.
No. They went and cooked it in their kitchen, honey.
Oh, right, at the start, yeah.
They started it the same way. It was like, let's start by making some recipes. Right. And they made recipes, made a big mess in their kitchen. Yeah. Then they had a ketchup tasting party at their apartment. And then they made a batch of it and they, they started very, very small.
They did.
In their own kitchen with tomatoes, for God's sake.
Yeah. So that is part of
and no training. Remember, they had no culinary training.
Yeah, so they took classes. Taught themselves,
and Googled how and the recipes. Mm-hmm. And they had no business training. They got business training, and they got this training.
Exactly.
No marketing training. They got marketing training. They did the whole schmeal. There is no such thing as Sir Kensington ketchup anymore, by the way. Uh-huh. But they did sell it for a few $1 billion, so it's okay.
Okay. So this is the type of thing that I'm trying to illustrate here. It's like those two examples that I used in the essay where with no money, you start with no money, no skills, no nothing. Mm-hmm. And you get there and you succeed. Now, my friend, he's still in business. And he's still very wealthy. And he calls himself I can't remember, it's a serial entrepreneur. Because what he does is he starts businesses from nothing and then he sells them for millions of dollars. Right? And that's his gig. That's what he likes to do. And now he's mentoring people and teaching people and stuff. And it's
sort of like the house flippers. That's the thing. What do I do? I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah. Right. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what he's doing right now because things have changed a lot since what's the last time that he posted on his social media was 2020, I think 2020 or 2021. I can't remember. So I don't know what was been happening with him since, but for all these decades, the last time I was chatting with him was 2015, and he had just lost his entire business to his partner. His partner swindled him.
Oh, no.
He lost everything. He had to mortgage his house and, sell his car and all the things. But and he was married with kids by then. But then he said, but, I'm starting again and I'm succeeding and my clients are coming back and blah, 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 So even then, after taking a big hit and getting a lot of realizing and seeing where he went wrong, because he talked to me about it, he went ahead and learned. And I was listening or I was studying what he told me, how he went wrong. And it's like, I learned it, right, from his experience. And so it's like you learn, you get your skill set, and like you said, like step by step, like those guys with the ketchup, right? Mm-hmm. It's not that you become a trillionaire or a billionaire overnight, like the movies show you. But it's actually, it's like small steps. And
well, at least that's movement to the direction. It can happen fast, it can happen slow, but it's the direction.
And as you step through those steps...
Instead of stopping yourself, you're moving, at least allowing yourself to move that way.
Yeah. So going back to the Mercade's example, our goal was to do a physical action in the physical world to tell the universe, okay, we're ready to be visible now, which is that physical action is part of the whole methodology that we teach about achieving or manifesting what you want, right?
take some actions to that direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So from that level of measurement, it was huge because it took a lot for us to actually become visible. Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so since you're hearing us on a public thing, but think about it. Nobody there had ever heard of a podcast.
Yeah.
And nobody knew QR codes.
Yeah.
And nobody knew what was what we were doing.
No.
Mostly everyone was wondering, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And they had a lot of crazy ideas
Yeah.
about what we were doing.
Yes.
I think we have a cult and
Yeah.
I don't know what else. Many weird things.
But the thing is, like when people accuse us of being running a cult, for example, those are the blocks, right? Those are the energy of people who don't want us to succeed, or don't want to succeed themselves.
Right, because they want to block any data from coming in.
Exactly.
Plus,
illumination, right?
They are responding to the cues that have been placed by the advertising already,
Yes.
the propaganda already. So when they see something that could be empowering, they immediately stop it.
Yes.
Because it's a cult.
Exactly. You
And you don't want to be
it.
in no damn cult.
No, absolutely.
You see what happens? They drink Kool-Aid and they die.
Yeah.
You don't want to die, do you?
No.
There you go. Don't do that.
Right. And for us, it's like, great. That means that we don't have to invest any time or energy in that person. They have filtered themselves out of our work, our attention field, you know?
Well,
and our co-creation.
Not only that, at least in the village, right? They can see that we didn't drink any Kool-Aid and die still. And we have houses and life and continuation, and it's not, haven't been fishing for a while. So where's that coming from? Mm-hmm. How can you have a life still?
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, the propaganda only works as long as you don't open your eyes, right? Mm-hmm. And just by being present and available, the eyes got like, well, they may be in a cult, but it doesn't look so bad from here. Maybe it's a good cult. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
So
what you're saying.
at the being physical level, present and available level, if we were a secretive thing, then we wouldn't be physically available. And by being not physically available, I mean, I'm following the train of thought that they would have, not us.
Oh, right, yeah.
By being physical and available and seeable, right?
No, that you're just there to try and get their money, man.
You've put the seed.
You want to.
You planted the seed.
You want to recruit them into your cult and exploit them and have sex with them.
They have a mighty high opinion of themselves, huh?
They do.
It's like,
No.
okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week.
No, not going to happen.
No.
So anyways, what is the goal that we're promoting?
What is our promoted goal in success and illumination? Is generation and creation of the experience of the new paradigm, which is like light, just a light real.
And your prime purpose.
And
right?
that's your prime purpose, to hold that frequency, your true frequency, the frequency that you are, and have that reflected back to you in the form of experiences
Right.
of that frequency.
Yeah.
So we become powerful, empowered, able, and holding our frequency, our true frequency, the one we came with. And that, by being that, generates and reflects back to us those experiences of that frequency.
Exactly. So basically, that's goal number 1, right? Embody and express your true frequency. That's your goal number 1. That's become a billionaire. And allow the environment to reflect back to you in the form of experiences of that same frequency. That's goal number 2. That's becoming a trillionaire.
Oh,
Right? So to achieve these purposes or these goals, the one that follows, right? You start small. So when you're expressing your true frequency, it's okay for you to start with 5 minutes a day.
or a hat.
That has a hat that says I believe on it with a Sasquatch riding a unicorn,
Right.
like Larry's.
That's a physical, like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how many people have asked me?
How many?
None. But I'm waiting. I'm pretty sure eventually somebody's going to say,
But it really expresses your frequency, honey.
Yes,
You're
that's called a
expressing
unicorn,
your
I believe.
frequency through your hat.
I am.
Every single minute of the day that you're wearing that hat, you're expressing your frequency. Step number 1 is tiny steps, right? To achieve the first goal, you're doing moment to moment.
Honestly, success is just the fact that I'm wearing the hat.
Yeah, there you go.
Because, I mean, by any other old measure, I would be like, you know, wearing that hat. Are you kidding me? People think I'm crazy.
Right.
But I'm not crazy.
No.
I mean, never mind. Let's not go there.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So there's a lot, there's a lot more to the essay. There's a whole bunch of stuff plus the more detailed examples and whatever's. And there's a list of things that you could create, right? Like a list of goals a suggested list of goals you might want to start with, right? So shall we just do the list and then wrap it up?
Okay, let's do the list and apply it to my army of light workers and $1 trillion.
Okay. So first of all, define in your words what enlightenment means to you. Oh no, this is the example of enlightenment. Okay.
Okay,
So define in your own words what an army of light workers means to you.
Well, it means a different word because there's no battle involved.
And arms.
And it's not first.
Okay. Define it.
It means a bunch of guys and gals who can walk around with a hat like this and actually they see that hat and they say, hey, what are you wearing that hat? I have the same hat.
Yes.
What are we? We're on the same team, huh?
Yes.
And they go like, yeah, darn right we are.
Okay. All right.
So that.
Okay.
Recognition of each other.
Yeah.
On the same mission.
So the number 2 is define a strong why you want to achieve getting a whole bunch of thousands of or millions of men and women out there to recognize each other and know that you're the same.
Because the new paradigm, light reality, is generated by those people.
Okay.
And they're not doing it quickly enough for me.
Okay. Okay, now, which, you kind of started it. Make a list of why you cannot or do not have that army already, right now.
Well, it depends on how big you think of an army. I have a very small army.
Yeah? How many strong is your army?
I think around a couple hundred or so.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a good start at it. They don't all have the hat yet. They don't even get paid yet. But they're still on. They're patrons. Patrons of the light. That's who's listening to us.
Okay. So create goals that address the reasons why you cannot or do not have that army.
Why don't
now.
I have
the 2 million army?
Yeah, an army is much more than a few hundred.
Yes.
An army is like a few thousands or tens of thousands. Tens of thousands. I'll say, like the trillionaire version, an army of a minimum 100,000.
Yeah. So what are the reasons why you don't have several thousand?
How much time you got?
Let's give me 2 reasons.
Well, I don't have $1 trillion to pay him yet. Or $1 billion.
Okay.
And I just come up with the idea, so
You have to
I haven't
develop
spent
it?
a lot of time figuring out even what to call it.
Okay.
Like Federation of Light, I think that one's taken, right?
All right, so this is good because you've already started number 5. Set up actions that address and achieve those other goals, right?
Right. Well, one thing is to attach ability to do and money with what happens with it.
Yes.
And the structures and the imaginations and the thoughts of how it functions and all of the, daydreaming that's involved in what would it be like to have operation of 100,000 person army of light workers.
Yeah.
What would it be like? How would you do? What would you do in the morning when you wake up?
Right. So the next step is set yourself up for success by talking about all this, not just try and figure it out by yourself, but with the good allies and counsel around you. So go to Substack.
Go to Substack, Subscribe Star,
Yeah.
Telegram
Walk with me
even.
now,
Walk
Telegram.
with me now.
All there.
All the places we gather. You want to join this?
No, not join. Just give you the input, the ideas. Work together, right? To figure it out. Figure out the definitions, the words you're going to use to describe what is a group of light workers.
That's the first one because I don't have anyone in my army.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Words first.
Yeah.
It's like we got to buy the URL.
For example, yeah.
But we need to even know what the URL is. All right.
Yeah.
Start.
All right.
Let's
Great.
go. Okay, honey. Great first steps.
Great first steps, honey.
Love you.
Love you too.